What should people be prioritizing going through the holiday season so they can keep making progress? And I've never been asked that question quite that way before, and my answer was a little bit different. So in this episode, that's what I'm talking about, is only the two things that you need to prioritize in order to navigate any chaotic season of your life. My question is, what do you need to believe that would serve you going into the situation, the holidays, the crazy time in your life, or whatever's going on with you? What if you had the belief of that you make great decisions in chaotic situations? What if you actually believe that down to your core, that you truly believe that you make the best decisions in chaos? You make nothing but great decisions under pressure and when things are difficult. What's going on, friends? Welcome back to a brand new episode of Dieting from the Inside Out. And in today's episode, I'm going to show you exactly how to navigate the holidays or any chaotic season of your life where you can still make progress and mitigate all sorts of regress so you can continue to enjoy your life, your favorite foods, your social events, and be bulletproof around every season of your life. Now, the thing is, this is not your normal conversation around this stuff. Ironically, I was actually being interviewed in a call or a webinar the other day. And the question that was asked to me was, what should people be prioritizing going through the holiday season so they can keep making progress? And I've never been asked that question quite that way before. And my answer was a little bit different, because what you're going to hear from most people, like if you ask most coaches or most influencer-y people online, like how to navigate the holidays, they're going to basically say stuff along the lines of conserve your calories, or, avoid the dessert table, or go load up on veggies and white meat turkey. And then, go work out really hard afterwards, or go on a walk before you go to the event and all that stuff. And I'm just not a fan. I don't like that. Most people feel like when it comes to the holidays or chaos or chaotic seasons, most people feel like they either have to pick, they have to either choose the event or the holiday season, but then gain 30 pounds in the process, or keep their shit together and keep their nutrition dialed in, keep their habits in check, but then they don't enjoy the holidays, the events, the family, the friends, the food, these kind of things. And it's like you have to pick. But I'm here to tell you that you don't have to pick, but there are two very specific things you need to focus on. So in this episode, that's what I'm talking about, is only the two things that you need to prioritize in order to navigate any chaotic season of your life. But at the time of recording this, we're getting ready to go into Thanksgiving and Christmas and all the things. So that's what we're going to get into. But you could literally listen or watch this episode during any season of your life. It could be holidays, birthdays, Christmases, crazy moving across the country, or anything, like you're in the middle of a divorce or whatever. You can use this information for all of it. So there are just two things that you need to prioritize and focus on. And those two things are, number one, your beliefs, and number two, your controllables. So I know that's kind of sounding kind of airy-fairy, but I'm going to get really tactical with this because it matters a lot. So when it comes to these two, it's because, I'll break these down into two parts. If you're watching the YouTube, that's what, also you'll see me looking around because I've got some notes on this one. So we're going to break these down into two parts. I'm going to go pretty deep on each of them. So the first thing is your beliefs. Why your beliefs is one of the things you should prioritize is because you subconsciously act in alignment with what you believe in general about yourself, about food, about what's possible, and all these things. Because most people have their beliefs all off. But you have to understand that your brain is working 24/7, 365 to prove you right to your beliefs. As in, whatever you believe about yourself, your brain is going to try to find evidence to support it being true. So as in, if you're like, man, I'm such an all or nothing person, I'm all in or all out, your brain is going to try to find evidence to support all the ways that you are a perfectionist or an all or nothing person. And it will even hide evidence to support the other, evidence to support that you're not one of those kind of people. Right? Or if you have the belief of you'll gain 30 pounds by January, or if you've ever gone, or if you've already said, I know I was going to do this. I knew I was going to mess this up. Well, if you had that baseline belief, your brain is just going to show you evidence to prove that right. You have to understand that you have special processes in your brain and special parts of your brain that are basically just to keep you sane. It's called your reticular activating system to be specific. But if your brain gave you access to everything you see all the time, you would go psychotic. You cannot process that much stimulus at once. So your brain has a filter system, and that's how it does it. It's what are your beliefs? What's important to you? And what are your biases? And if you have ones that aren't so serving, your brain doesn't care. It just says, oh, they believe they're a lost cause. Let's show them all the evidence to validate that. It's kind of like you become your own self-fulfilling prophecy. So if you believe that you'll gain 30 pounds by January, because that's what you've always done, well, guess what your brain is going to go look for? All the ways you can do it, right? Or let's say if you feel like, if you have the belief of that you have to give up all your favorite foods to be successful, well, you'll be successful, but your brain will make it abundantly clear that you have to give up all your favorite foods, and that's how you'll do it. And it will hide all the opportunities for you to enjoy your favorite foods while making progress. Your beliefs are step number one, because your beliefs is what governs the filter on your life and what your brain goes to work to look for, even subconsciously. Okay. So like, for example, if you believe like right around now, a lot of people are believing that there's no point. There's no point to even try this because you're going to end up gaining the weight anyway. And, you're just going to wait till life slows down or whatever. The problem is then your brain's going to go, okay, bet. I guess that's what we are. That is right. That's what we're going to find evidence to support. So at the end of the day, you have evidence for anything that you believe in front of you. So this is why you have to be very careful what you believe. If you believe you're an all or nothing person or you're a perfectionist, you'll find every valid reason to wait to get started or to stop whenever things get hard or whatever the case may be. So this is why you have to get clear on your beliefs you have about food, the beliefs you have about weight loss, and the beliefs that you have going into the holidays or whatever chaotic event in your life. And that's the step number one. Like if I could give you the greatest plan imaginable, the magic blueprint, but if you have a belief that goes in opposition, it doesn't matter. If I could literally give you the magic blueprint to fat loss right now, but if you have a belief that you're too old or too far gone or don't have what it takes, that plan is worthless to you because you won't actually execute it. We have to start at what you believe because your brain is this magical supercomputer that's trying to find evidence to close all these loops you have in your head. So if your beliefs are out of whack, then it doesn't matter what else you'll do. This is why you have to diet from the inside out first before you diet for real. And the whole point of doing the inner work and changing these things. You cannot change your personal reality, like your results, without changing your actual personality, who you actually think you are, the beliefs that you have, and all these sorts of things. Now, I'm going to take it a step further. I would say, like, let's say you're checking your beliefs and whatnot. In order for you to get rid of a belief, I'm of the camp of believing that you need to replace it with a serving belief because your brain doesn't like open loops. And if you had this hole that you're like this belief of I'm too far gone and you pull it out, well, we need to replace that belief with something else. Otherwise your brain will go back and find the old belief. So my question is, what do you need to believe that would serve you going into the situation, the holidays, the crazy time in your life or whatever's going on with you? What do you need to believe? What do you need to believe in order to make all this work that would help if your brain found evidence to support these new beliefs and put them on autopilot? I have a few. Like, what if you had the belief of that you always find a way to win? What if, like, no matter what's going on, you feel like you just have the belief that, like, you always make it out on the other side, you always accomplish your goals, and you will always find a way to win? That belief would serve you. What if you had the belief of that you make great decisions in chaotic situations? What if you like actually believe that down to your like core? If that you truly believe that you make the best decisions in chaos, you make nothing but great decisions under pressure and when things are difficult. Because guess what? What's going to happen if you actually have that belief? Your brain is going to go find those decisions for you and find those solutions that you're looking for. What if the next one I have written down, what if that the belief that you'll come out on the other side in a better place than when you went in? Like, as in, what if going into the holidays, when you come out on the other side in January of after the holidays are over, that you'll come out in a better place than right now? What if you like actually believed that? That will change your energy, that will change your vibration, that will change what's in your awareness, and that will change what your actions are going to be based on. At the end of the day, it's a game changer. Okay. What next? What if you had the belief that you make time for what you prioritize, which includes yourself? Maybe you'd quit finding ways to put yourself on the back burner. Maybe you'd stop subconsciously prioritizing others above yourself. Maybe you would actually give a damn and start putting money and time and priority in you when you normally throw it on the back burner and cause you to sabotage. Again, everything starts at beliefs. I have two more written down. What if you believe that you can enjoy the holidays while keeping 100% in control of yourself? A lot of you guys go into the holidays and you go, once I start, I can't stop. That went any chance of you actually having self-control. Or if you have the belief of, oh man, I can't, once I have one, I can't not have all of them. Or, oh, I just black out and I wake up and food is gone and I can't control myself. That's a belief that's wrong. Because I guarantee you, if I offered to pay you $1 million, if you could control yourself during the holiday season, it would be almost effortless. Well, where's that self-control at? Like right now. It's because it's a belief system thing. Okay. Last one I have down. What if you have the belief that you aren't an all or nothing person anymore and you thrive in balance in moderation? Like, think about like those of you that are listening to this right now that you're like, no, I'm such an all or nothing person. I'm such a perfectionist. Think about the conviction you have with that. What if you had that same amount of conviction and belief in that you are a master of moderation and that you thrive in balance? I bet you would find all sorts of evidence in situations where you can lean into that and have everything you want in balance and moderation. And the suffering that comes along with perfectionism wouldn't be here anymore. So at the end of the day, this is about your beliefs have to change. If you're going to navigate the holidays and life in general and chaos, things are never going to slow down. Things are never going to always be easy. Stuff is always going to come up. But if your MO and your go-to is like ill beliefs, it doesn't matter what magic opportunity is in front of you. You'll shit it away. Like, I cannot tell you how many times, like, you over and over again, I could give you the magic blueprint. I could give you the $1 million ticket. I could give you everything that you need on the surface. But if the depths of who you are your belief systems about whatever, yourself, life, food, dieting, weight loss, what you're going to do, all these things, it's not going to matter. If you have this belief of I'm not good enough, then you're going to act in congruence with someone who isn't good enough and you'll get shitty results. Or if you have this belief of I'm not worthy of the results I want, well, you'll start to make progress, but then something magical will happen and you'll start to sabotage, drift, and fall off because you're going to get what you think you deserve, which is if you think you're deserving of nothing and worthless, well, then you're going to get nothing and you'll like piss away any opportunity that you have. It happens all the time. And here's the wild part with this stuff. It doesn't just stop at fat loss. We could make this a whole life episode. This happens in relationships. If you think you're not good enough for the other person, or if you think you're not worthy of love and happiness, you'll drive that person away. In business, I can't tell you how many times in business I've done it when I would always get to the same amount of money every time, and then I would sabotage. And I would get back to the ceiling of like income, and I would sabotage. It's because I didn't think I was good enough to go above it. I didn't think I was worthy of going above it. I didn't think I was the right person for it or what have you. Well, until I blew through that belief, then all of a sudden everything else like filled in on the backside of it. Everything comes down to beliefs. Every single thing does. But no one talks about beliefs. Everyone's like, well, what do I do now? Well, how do I lose weight now? How do I keep my shit together now? Well, cool. Well, maybe that's the problem. Maybe you need to take a step back and go, who am I? What kind of person am I? What do I believe to be true? What's my self-image? Who is the person sitting in this chair right now? Who do I have to become to get what I want? What do I have to let go of? What beliefs do I currently have that I have to let dissolve to get to where I want to be? Because I can tell you right now, if you have beliefs living rent-free in your body and in your mind of I'm not good enough, weight loss is hard, I'm too old, I'm too far gone, I'm a perfectionist, I'm an all or nothing person. Once I start, I can't stop. I'm uncontrolled. I've always been like this. Whatever, if that's what's living rent-free in your head, you will sabotage everything in front of you regardless of the plan in place. Is because that is your thermostat. The reason, like if you look at the thermostat in your house, is it regulates the environment, the room temperature to what its setting is at. If the thermostat is set at 70 degrees and you leave the door open on a sunny day and the room heats up to 80, the thermostat kicks on, cools the room back off to its setting. So if your personal setting is this is going to be hard, and all of a sudden you start losing weight easily, all of a sudden your brain goes, it's not where we're set at, and it will find things, magic will happen, and you will start to sabotage back to, this is hard. Or if you feel like you're too old, too far gone, whatever these ill beliefs are that I've mentioned, and then you start to get results, you're too far out in front of it now. Your beliefs have to be the furthest out thing in front, and then everything else falls into place after it, okay? Now, let's talk about part 2, because we were talking about navigating fat loss in the holidays or any crazy or chaotic time. Now, the next part to this, because as I said, there's 2 parts. The things you need to prioritize are your beliefs and check those. But then number 2 is your controllables. Okay. What I mean by that is here's the problem. Most people, when life gets crazy or chaotic or overwhelming, or I don't know, we'll just say not perfect, most people jump ship entirely. Most people, like as soon as like at the time of filming this, it's just still we're about halfway through November. Well, people started jumping ship on Halloween last month because they go, oh, life is getting crazy. Halloween, then Thanksgiving, then Friendsgiving, and then Christmas, and then more Christmases, and then New Year's. I'm just going to start over Monday. Well, then they wonder why they never make it. Or you may do good the first half of the year, but then you gain all your weight back the second half of the year. Is because if you have a pattern of when things get hard or things get challenging or things get not perfect, you jump ship, you'll never make it. Life gets busy, you quit. Holidays come around, throw in the towel. Or here's my personal favorite, is when someone says, I can't give it my all right now, so I'm going to get back on track when I can give it 100% of my focus. That is a complete and utter cop-out. Like, I'm just being honest. I know that's going to piss some people off, but if you've said, or the kind of person that says, oh, I'm going to wait till life slows down until I can give this 100% of my focus. That is the very polished, put a bow on a cop-out of quitting, of accepting failure, is because the reality is those mentalities are keeping you fat. Those mentalities are causing you to be a bad example to your kids. Those mentalities are causing more generational bullshit to continue to run through your family tree. Those mentalities are stopping you from getting to where you want to be. Because here's why. You're a fucking adult in this crazy ass world with responsibilities. You are never going to have a situation where you can give it 100% of your focus. That's never going to happen. That's not a thing. You can't give your job 100% of your undivided attention because you have to go to the bathroom throughout the day. You have to eat. You have kids at home. You have other stuff on your mind. You have laundry to do. You have emails to get. You have responsibilities. You have a dog to feed. Right? If you think about the stuff in your life that you value the most, you make time for it and it doesn't matter. All of a sudden, you're not like not watching football or your favorite sports team or going out on the weekends or hanging out with your friends or getting drinks with your social circle because, well, I can't do it until I can give it 100% of my undivided attention or 100% of my focus. But somehow that stuff is okay. It's because you prioritize that stuff. At the end of the day, like no one likes it when I say this, but if you just show me your calendar and your bank account and it shows everything you prioritize. Like every day of the week, I cannot tell you how many people who say, oh, I cannot afford to get coaching, therapy, healthy food, a gym membership, but somehow they can afford $1,000 a month on DoorDash. I'm talking about real scenarios, or like $500 to $800 a month on getting their nails done, or another, $100 to $400 a month on Starbucks, or always having a new bag, or always having new clothes, or always going on a vacation, or always having the 17 different streaming services, or always having Amazon packages at their house every other day, or always getting bottles of wine on the weekends. And here's the thing, I'm not downplaying any of that, but we have to line your action with your ambition. If you say these things are a priority, but they're not, then you're lying to yourself. So at the end of the day, this is why most people though, because here's the thing, at the end of the day, saying that in like out loud is really hard. No one likes to say that. So that's why we make it sound prettier and to kind of validate it. Oh, I can't focus on this right now. Or I can't give this 100% of my attention, so I'm not going to focus on it at all. Meanwhile, like everything else is just getting worse around you. And again, I know this may upset some people, but I'm here to help you and change your life, not just placate to your emotions or tell you what you want to hear. So this is why, number 2, during chaotic situations is your controllables. I don't care how ridiculous your situation is, you have controllables. You have things in your control every single step of the way. And I've been doing this for a long time. I have had clients that have like the worst case of lupus you could ever meet. I have clients who have their wife or their husband in the hospital with cancer and they're literally sleeping in the lobby because they're going to work, going to the hospital because their wife is having cancer. Like I'm telling you, there are people who are living your dream, who have the results that you want, who have 10 times more issues and struggles and chaos in their life than you do right now. So why is it you can't get to where you want to be? Again, I'm not about this. I normally don't like this kind of message because I'm not about trying to convince someone who's not trying to get the help that they need. And this isn't even about coaching. This is about you stepping in and doing the actions that you need to do to get to where you want to be. Because here's the other part. Again, right about now, most people are throwing in the towel completely and giving up and are lying to themselves about like they don't have time or I'm an all or nothing person, these kind of things. But you have to understand, if you're willing to throw in the towel when things get crazy and busy and chaotic, that you're just quite literally setting up for yourself more sabotage and struggle next time. Because if you're waiting to execute and to show up for yourself until life slows down, well, that means when you do get on track, when life slows down, you're going to quit and fall off when life gets hard again or crazy again. Or if you're willing to throw in the towel right now and give up on yourself and stop showing up for yourself because of the holidays this year, well, I don't know if you've noticed, but there are holidays every year. So next year, you're going to do the same thing. Like, could you imagine that? Imagine like January actually being your year and you doing so well and changing your life, but then October, November, you throw in the towel again and gain all your weight back. And then you do this year after year after year. Sounds like craziness to me. Well, that's what most people do. So wouldn't it be better to have a plan and strategy that has controllables in it that you can execute on no matter what season of life you're in, no matter what's going on? Because that's what this is about. And at the end of the day, there's not a world where you don't have a couple controllables. I don't care how crazy your situation is. I'm gonna give them to you. There's things that are always in your control. Otherwise, you're quite literally programming your brain to fall off whenever things get nuts and you go, I'm just gonna stop. I'm gonna throw in the towel. Oh, this is it's not a good time. I'm just gonna say fuck it until life slows down. That's you're just setting yourself up for more failure later. Because regardless of the craziest situations or times in your life or going into the holidays, you always can stop when you're full. That's always in your control. You can always simply do your best. Isn't it ironic? You tell your kids just do your best, but then like you don't do it yourself here. I just think it's kind of interesting, and they're watching, by the way. What about drinking more water? It's always in your control. What about just not binging and falling off? Like that whole thing where some people you'll slip up a little bit and you go, oh, why even bother? And you'll continue to choose to stay off and binge. It's a choice. Just not doing that will put you strides ahead. Getting back on track ASAP, because we all mess up, we all slip up, but staying off is a choice. You literally are one bite, one moment, one decision, one literal spoonful from being back on track. But too often we have this goalpost of, oh, I fell off on a Thursday, I'm going to get started back on Monday. You can just move that goalpost closer at the end of the day. You can always control that. You can always control being mindful, right? You can always control like, wait, where am I at? What am I feeling? Am I hungry? Am I craving something? Am I just bored? You can always control that. You can always control holding space for your emotions separately from food. Look, if hunger's not the problem, food's not the solution. You can always control not eating when you're not hungry. It's hard, but I'm saying this is one of the first things I work on with clients is we have to establish we only eat when we're hungry. So if you are emotional, we need to go be with those emotions separately from food. If you're bored, we need to go do an activity or do something with the boredom. If we are having a craving, we need to have it in moderation. But the whole act of just I'm emotional and go to food, like we need to hold space for the emotions separately from food, and that's in your control. You can always make better decisions with the options at hand, right? It doesn't matter if you're at any situation, you can still make better decisions of what options are in front of you. The problem is, this goes back to the belief system things. All of that stuff goes against your beliefs of you're an all or nothing person, you're all in, all out, and you're not good enough to get the results that you want, whatever the beliefs are. That plan controlling your controllables goes against the old beliefs for most of you listening to this. So this is why your breakthrough isn't on the other side of a new workout plan, a new carb to fat ratio, a new recipe guide, new snack ideas, new protein powder. It's not. Your breakthrough is on the other side of changing who the fuck you are, which means your beliefs and your character and your identity, and changing how you react and respond to crazy and chaotic and overwhelming situations, as in controlling your controllables. Because this is why waving your all or nothing flag at the end of the day is a cop-out, because there's so many things in your control. Like imagine if your kid struggles in math class or got a B+ on a math test and says, I'm an all or nothing person. I'm not even going to try. You'd have an issue with that, but you're doing that in fat loss. You see what I mean? So this is why we have to check these boxes. Because at the end of the day, it's also not you who's saying to just give up because things aren't perfect. It's your ego. It's the ego. It's the old self. It's the lower version of you. There are many versions of you present right now because you have the version. Here's what I tell clients. At all times, there's at least 3 versions of you present. There is the old self or the ego, the lower sabotaging you that's trying to stay stuck, right? Even though if you're suffering, your brain doesn't like change. So the thought of you being happy, healthy, wealthy, and successful is terrifying to your brain because it goes against your old belief systems and your current reality. So you have the old self trying to sabotage you. Then you have your higher self that you're trying to become, right? Like you don't just like lose the weight. You have to become someone who loses the weight. So the version of you that you're trying to become, like I want those goals, those results, that weight loss, that whatever the goal is. So we'll call that the higher self. So you're trying to become the higher self, but you're fighting the older self tendencies. So here's the third person, you right now, that has to decide who you are going to lean into, right? There's always three versions of you. There's the version of you right now that's calling the shots, that has the free will, but you have two voices in your ears. You have the old self that's saying like, oh, you're an all or nothing person. Wait till life slows down. You're an all or nothing. You're all in or all out. You're a perfectionist. You can't focus on this right now. You need to wait till you can give it 100% of your attention. That's bullshit. Then you have the higher self. What would they do? You're not an all or nothing person. That's not who you are anymore. You thrive in balance. You thrive in moderation. You're going to be the one for your family, right? This is you that's making the shots, that has the results that you want. So now it comes down to, who are you aligning your actions with? Because you can say affirmations all day. You can lie to yourself all day, but it comes down to, what is your action saying? Because at the end of the day, the version that you empower is the version of the shoes you're stepping in. So are you stepping in the shoes and following the footsteps of the old self, of the ego, that's just going to take you back down to where you were and stuck? Or are you going to step into the shoes of the higher self that gets everything that you want? Because you can't stay low level you and get high level you results, right? You have to become the version of yourself that gets everything that you want. This is an identity-based goal. You don't lose 30 pounds. You have to become someone who loses 30 pounds. Well, what are the characteristics of that person? How does that person believe? What is that person's controllables? How does that person think? How do they react? How do they respond? You just do what that version of you does and you get the results that they have. This is how we achieve goals. And if you guys would like me to do more content on this, or podcast episodes deep diving this, it's some of my favorite things to talk about. So, because at the end of the day, I don't know if you've noticed or not, but we live in a very not perfect world. So if you are always waiting to being reactive, oh, life is crazy, I'm just going to hold back. I'm going to forget what's in my control. You are in for a hellacious ride. And I hope to God you don't take that habit and pattern to other areas in your life. Imagine telling your kid, oh, this person's in office, don't do your homework. Oh, this person's showing favoritism at your job, don't show up to your job. Oh, the economy is hard right now, don't go to work. It's the same stuff. This stuff scales. Now you may say, well, Jared, that's different, but is it though? But it's not. The only thing that's different is your priorities. Your priorities is, I'm going to go to work. I'm going to go into school. I'm going to do whatever. But the reality is, we have to change your beliefs here, the controllables here, and change things differently here. Because I promise you that you are not on a podcast right now called Dieting from the Inside Out if you are not trying to actively change your life. But this is the only way to do it. So at the end of the day, the solution to thriving through the holidays is to audit your beliefs and change them, as well as to the ones that serve you, I should say, but then as well as always control your controllables. And that's it. So I hope this helped. If it does, please do me a favor and leave a review and subscribe to the podcast. Now, before you go, I do have a bunch of stuff for you in the description. Number one is if this is stuff that you struggle with and you're like, man, I need frameworks on how to approach this stuff. I don't know how to get down to the nitty gritty of changing my beliefs, or I feel like I need more support and strategies with my controllables. I'm just, that kind of stuff is hard to navigate. I literally have frameworks and strategies and tactics and support ready to go right now in the collective. It's my coaching group. You can either apply to join or straight up join, depending on when you're watching this. In the link in the description right now, all the info's down there. And if, let's say you're not quite ready for that yet, I have a couple other things for you. Number one, if you have not gone through my fat loss checklist mini course, you are missing out on making fat loss super simple, super scalable, and super doable, and just arguably easy as fuck. Because at the time of recording this, I've had thousands of people go through it and they are blown away at how simple fat loss can be, to where you can enjoy every facet in your life. So if you haven't gone through my fat loss checklist, do it. And it is not just a quick half-ass ebook like every other coach puts out. It's an actual mini course and it will change everything for you. And then lastly, if you have not joined my free Facebook group, you will want to do that, because most people are on this journey alone. Most people just are in a dozen other Facebook groups that aren't serving them. So I have, at the time of recording this, I know I say that a lot, over 10,000 people in my Facebook group, and I do nothing but teach more on this stuff. It's completely for free. So if that's your cup of tea and you want to be around more like-minded people, go join that. All the links are in the description, as well as all my other socials. Please connect with me on there. Also, I check all my DMs. I'm always in my DMs every day. So if you and I have not connected, shoot me a message on Instagram at @RealJaredHamilton, so you and I can chat and talk, and I can get to know you more too. Otherwise, that's it for today's episode. I love you and I appreciate you. Hopefully you have a great holiday season. I will talk to you very soon.